Welcome to my first impression review of the KTM 390 Adventure SW. I was lucky enough that the dealership called Masterbike in Cluj, Napoca, offered me the motorcycle to take out, test it, review it, do videos on. So I'm really grateful to these guys as well. They're really close to the airport. If you're ever in Cluj and you want to visit them, they sell the whole KTM lineup, meaning Husqvarna gas, as well as CF Moto bikes. The Indian and Polaris is also next door, and I'm hoping to collaborate with the guys a bit more in the long run and test a few other bikes. If you want to see other motorcycle reviews, make sure to subscribe to the channel. So instead of listing the specs that you can probably find on KTM's marketing brochure, I'd rather have you guys kind of see the motorcycle through my eyes, feel it through my body. That sounds a bit more sexual than I intended it to, but you guys get the gist, kind of. I want you guys to actually have an idea of what to expect from this motorcycle, regardless of height, power and all that, the way the bike feels. So I was going to go and film on the castle grounds with the castle in the background, but unfortunately I was denied the opportunity to do so. I couldn't even get any B-roll shots or anything. They've got some construction stuff going on as well. So either way, I just decided to come up to this hillside, which has given me the opportunity to test this road as well, which is quite steep. Like you can see some dirt bike tracks in here on here as well. And to my surprise, the bike didn't have any issues dealing with those. Also, it is quite windy, not too much of an issue. We do have a dead cat as well. We've got our cool neighbor here called BoJack Horseman as well. And yeah, together we make a good team, BoJack.
You folks having a good time?
Without any further ado, welcome to Ride with Nimrod, and let's dive into the KTM 390 Adventure SW. Well, today's a really exciting day for me because it's officially my first ever collaboration with a dealer on a motorcycle review, and it is with Authentic Spirit here in Cluj, and they've offered for me to test the KTM 390 Adventure. So yeah, let's take a look at that. Look at all them cool murals of both Husqvarna and KTM. How cool are those? Well, so we're here. So my kind of disclaimer, I am not a motorcycle journalist, nor am I a sales guy. It is not in my interest to sell you this motorcycle. I'm pretty much just a motorcycle guy that's had too much coffee and has a camera, and I kind of like talking about motorcycles. So I could give you all the specs on the KTM 390 Adventure, but I'm pretty sure you already know these, or you can look them up on Google. I'm the type of person that if I see a YouTube video where people start talking about the power, height and length and chassis and ground clearance, I instantly just start falling asleep. It's like 44 horsepower with 890 millimeter height, and yeah. The power doesn't really matter unless you are going to be racing your neighbor's lawnmower. Also, there's, you know, gearing ratios, the ratios between your sprockets as well. So it doesn't really matter how strong the bike is. Relative to my personal motorcycle, which is a Husqvarna Norden 901, essentially the same as the KTM 890 Adventure R, this bike on paper has less than half of the power of that motorcycle, it rocking the LC4C engine as opposed to the LC8C engine. In this case, where LC4C stands for liquid-cooled 4-valve compact engine. So as opposed to my personal bike, this one's only running on one cylinder, which obviously is gonna make the bike behave a bit more differently. I kind of knew what to expect when I kind of hopped on the bike from that perspective, but otherwise this was a completely new motorcycle for me. I've never test rode it. So yeah, I was just curious to see what it behaves like. Also on-road as well as off-road. This would have been a nice motorcycle for me to own before even buying the Husqvarna Norden 901. Before that bike, I used to own, and I still own, a Husqvarna FE350, which I've kind of converted into a more dual sport style adventure motorcycle something, but it's obviously still kind of an enduro trail bike. I've actually changed some of the sprockets to make it again more road friendly, but this would have been a nice step up from that motorcycle and before hopping on to the Norden 901. However, given my age, my height, my weight, it was already relevant for me to actually upgrade to the bigger bike. But this is kind of the reason why I wanted to compare this bike to the bigger one, which is also
kind of less than half of what the price of that motorcycle is, or the 890 Adventure R. Important to mention that this is not the highest trim. Like, there is the KTM 390 Adventure R that was announced. It's got the cool tower up front, but unless you're gonna be doing the Dakar Rally through the desert, odds are you're only gonna be needing the SW version of the KTM 390 Adventure. So again, to highlight, it's called an SW because it's got spoked wheels. It makes it more off-road friendly. I had my doubts because the motorcycle has the Apex shocks, which are smaller, thinner as well than the larger Explore shocks the Adventure R comes with. But these are also adjustable. You can adjust them after your weight. I haven't really touched them right now, and I found the motorcycle to behave comfortably, especially with my weight as well. I'm pretty sure this motorcycle in general is designed for lighter people, smaller, maybe shorter in size, thinner as well, maybe for women as well. But that brings me to the part where the bike does have, if I'm not mistaken, it's got 33 kilowatts in terms of power, and it is a KTM 390. So in Europe, you can drive this motorcycle with the A2 driver's license. So that's gonna be people aged between 18 and 24 years. So if you are in that age category looking for an adventure style motorcycle, then I'd say look no further, because this thing definitely gets the job done. But if you're older than 24 and you still own and ride this bike, then kudos to you, man. Never grow up. But all jokes aside, this bike really does behave super well, and I can imagine even myself owning one of these. It behaves super nimbly in the city as well. It is really light. It feels light as well, relative to the Norden 901, which has the rally style gas tank going all the way down, making the bike low heavy. This one has the gas tank on top. I expected it to feel heavier on the top end, and it doesn't. Because it is closer to the ground, the ground clearance being smaller than that of a rally bike, this one actually feels way more planted on the asphalt as well as in off-road situations. It's really just the ground clearance that could be an issue if you are gonna be doing some heavier off-roading. When we're talking about off-roading with a KTM 390, I'm gonna be referring to things like an unbeaten path, this road that's behind me, maybe some other mountain roads, but nothing too heavy. You won't be doing the Dakar Rally with this motorcycle. Odds are most people buying it will probably mostly be using it on asphalt to commute in town, either to go to school, to work, university, whichever, and occasionally kind of leave town and, you know, enjoy a weekend trip away from, well, to get away from it all. You're quite limited on top speed. I've tested it. I've kind of tested its top speed. It's not super fast, but it will definitely get the job done. If you are a parent of one of these younger guys that is looking to get one of these motorcycles, I do recommend it. It does a really good job accelerating, but it doesn't have a high top speed, which obviously makes the motorcycle safer as well, but it doesn't make it any less fun, don't get me wrong. Also, because it is an adventure style motorcycle, it being higher, you are sitting upright on the motorcycle, you are also taller on the road, meaning that other drivers will easily spot you. Otherwise, essentially, if you would be riding something like the KTM Duke, you gotta be more careful because you are gonna come off as a smaller rider on the road. So whenever you get to an intersection, a driver has a harder time seeing you coming from afar. So this one kind of helps with the bike being taller as well. It's got the taller windshield. It definitely makes the riding more comfortable. I didn't expect it, honestly, because the windshield is quite low, but it's also got that slight curvature, somewhat similar to what the Husqvarna Norden Expedition has, and it also kind of creates a bit of an air bubble, so I didn't have issues with buffeting, although I wasn't really riding at insanely high speeds. If you are going to be doing 140 kilometers an hour, then yeah, you are going to be bothered by the wind, but let's face it, again, you'll mostly be using this in town or kind of doing some slower off-road sections as well. The bike can take it, the bike can really manage more, and if you're going to be doing like a half an hour ride, then the bike's gonna be fine, your head will as well. But if you're gonna be doing a long weekend trip somewhere out of town, the wind can get bothersome, right? I've seen videos where people were complaining about the handguard being too thin, weak, I guess. It's not the bark buster, but again, if you wanna do some heavy trail riding, this is not the motorcycle for you. This is more of a commute, adventure-friendly, off-road friendly bike where, yeah, you can scrape it against a couple of bushes and stuff, but you're not gonna be hitting barks with it, right? If you want to do that, you best be looking at something like the EXC 450, which is the enduro bike of the KTM. As you might know, these motorcycles are manufactured by BoJack Auto in India. Some people have a problem with that, but would you really rather pay more for your motorcycle just because a guy has a €7 cappuccino in the morning versus a chai master sweating over hot steel? Let's face it, even the Austrian factory has had its quality control issues, and I would know because I have researched the KTM 890 problems as well. Make sure to check out my review on the Husqvarna Norden 901, where I do talk about things like the camshaft issues as well as going into a few other details, along with some add-ons that you can add to this motorcycle as well. Things like the tire pressure monitoring system, something that this bike also doesn't have. Talk about navigation as well. This bike also has a GPS mount, so you can kind of combine the whole nice CNC quad lock wireless setup if that's what you're going for. You can get the Carparide setup as well, or Garmin, or whichever you're gonna go for. But if you're probably a young kid looking at this motorcycle, you'll probably just opt for the quad lock and slap your phone on there, which makes things a lot easier. It's not hard to see why KTM is moving their manufacturing over to India. The cost of living is a lot lower. Average wages are a lot lower as well. Whereas in Austria, on top of people having high salaries due to high cost of living, they also have higher taxes, having to contribute more to their pension fund, to their insurance plan and all that jazz. So again, kind of understanding, like, at the end of the day, India may actually be an upgrade in terms of manufacturing, knowing about things like the cheese camshafts of KTMs. Also, this brick under my thigh, that's not my lunge. That's a catalytic converter. For people that have already seen my previous video on the Husqvarna Norden 901, know that I have beef with catalytic converters. They get hot, they emit heat, they're there for a noble cause, but I think they are causing more damage. Maybe they're causing less damage to the environment, but they're causing more damage to you as well as your motorcycle. If you want to go into details about the catalytic converter, definitely make sure to check out my video on the Husqvarna Norden 901. I've kind of went into detail as to what my issue is with these things. And as you can probably tell, there is no protection between the catalytic converter on this motorcycle and the rear shock of it. So odds are you're going to be facing similar issues as what a bunch of other people are facing with the KTM 890s, and that is failed shocks. Hot components, this thing gets up to like 800 degrees. So, to give a bit of context, when I got back, I asked the dealer about the catalytic converter. According to them, the KTM 390 shouldn't have the same heat issues as the larger 890s. That's mainly because the engine displacement is smaller, so the cat doesn't run as hot. That said, it's still a catalytic converter, it still generates heat, and with absolutely no heat shielding between the cat and the rear shock, I'd personally play it safe. A basic heat guard or wrap from AliExpress or whatever is cheap insurance and honestly worth doing. Not a major issue on the 390s, but definitely something to keep in mind if you're thinking about buying one. So to point out some of the bits that I find to be advantages on this motorcycle, definitely we gotta start from top. The windshield makes riding generally comfortable whether you're in town or out of town. Unless you're gonna be going at high speeds, the windshield will definitely do a good job. The mirrors are really cool looking, as well as they are quite large. You're gonna get a good view of what's happening behind you. The dashboard looks really well made as well. It does display whatever you need it to display. All the electronics it's got a couple of ride modes as well. It's got street mode as well as off-road mode. You can turn off your traction control as well as your ABS, make the riding a bit more fun. That's kind of why it falls under the adventure category as well. It's got a 12-volt socket as well. It's got a GPS mount up here. So in itself, what you see when you're sitting on the bike is all good from my perspective, at least. Maybe I'm a bit biased because this bike also comes with the same controls that my Husqvarna Norden 901 comes with. So I'm obviously quite familiar, instead of, having to sit on a BMW where I'm not familiar with any of the controls. This made it a lot easier for me to adapt to this motorcycle today when I got onto it. The apex shocks are semi-adjustable as well. You've got compression as well as rebound. You can kind of tweak those. I don't think you'll be doing a lot of adjusting anyway. Unless you're gonna be doing a lot of heavy off-roading, you'll probably just find the setting that works for you best and you're gonna stick to that. The tank, which I thought is gonna be a downside of it being on the top end, being heavier, is actually really cool. If I'm not mistaken, the tank has 14 liters of capacity, which does give you, you can ride at least 400 kilometers with that on the mileage you get on this motorcycle. The fact that it's a single cylinder bike definitely helps with the gas mileage of the motorcycle. You can easily cover 400 kilometers, 250 miles on a single tank of gas. Going back, the seat, the first time I got onto it, I actually thought it was a bit too hard, but I kind of gotten used to it. Again, I just got off of the Husqvarna 901. That's the one I went to the dealer with. So I kind of went from a sofa over to something that's more like a motorcycle, I guess. It's not that the seat on this is not comfortable, it's that the seat on the Husqvarna is a lot more comfortable than any other motorcycle. So again, after about maybe 20 minutes of riding, I've gotten used to it and it kind of just felt normal, like this is the way a motorcycle seat should behave. The passenger seat in the back as well, you can carry up to a passenger. You've got footrests for a passenger as well. And I can easily say that the motorcycle will handle 2 people quite easily. Considering that I weigh 100 kilograms, which is like 220 pounds, roughly around there. Odds are if you're looking at this motorcycle, you are lighter yourself, you are shorter, you're definitely weighing less. If you're gonna put another person on here, or if you're gonna be putting luggage back here, the bike will still be able to handle it without any issues. You also have the handles back here for a passenger to hold on to, which is quite nice. It also serves as a good mounting point for the Insta360 camera. Going down, the frame of this motorcycle is actually similar to the one on the KTM 890 Adventure that's been inspired by rally bikes from the Dakar Rally as well. It's the trellis-shaped tube, steel tube, specifically chromium molybdenum, if I'm not mistaken. That's the material it's made of. It's light, it's flexible enough to make the riding really comfortable. And then it comes with a bolt-on subframe, much like the motocross enduro bikes and other adventure bikes from KTM. Now with 400cc, there's not much you can do in terms of sound, especially with that big ass catalytic converter in there. But maybe if you slap on a different exhaust, you will get a different sound on the motorcycle. The advantage of the current setup is that you can literally ride anywhere, anytime, at night as well, and you won't be bothering anyone, unless you're gonna be really revving the engine. The engine itself is really quiet, as you might have heard from my riding shots as well. Going further down, back to the wheels, as this is kind of the main difference that we get relative to the standard 390 Adventure. The spoked wheels are really off-road capable. I've sort of tested this myself. I've done a few small jumps, a few small drifts as well, just to kind of get an idea if this bike deserves to be called an adventure motorcycle, and I can safely say that it does. The tires the motorcycle comes with, the Continental TKCs, really do a fantastic job, especially on road. Now, off-road as well, they've done a really good job just now, but everything is completely dry around me. I'm pretty sure these would be fairly useless on wet grass or in the mud. But if you are going to be doing a lot of wet off-road riding, then definitely you will know to change your tires, as well as maybe slap on a higher fender that the Adventure R has. Only kind of bigger downside that I can mention about the whole Adventure gist of it, that it's off-road friendly, is the fact that the wheels are smaller. So normally on a adventure bike, a motocross bike, enduro bike, you're gonna get 21-inch front wheels. This one comes with 19-inch front wheels, and the rear wheel has 17 inches, which is not too bad. It's mainly the front wheel that counts when it comes to off-roading. If you are gonna be hitting a ditch, you don't want the wheel to kind of fall into the ditch and for the bike to throw you over the handlebars. The bigger the wheel, the more comfortable it is off-road. But again, to highlight, if you are gonna be doing the Dakar Rally or any heavier off-roading, then definitely consider the Adventure R of the 390. If not, if you are still gonna be mostly using it for commuting and enjoying town, then just stick to this setup. It definitely does a great job out of the factory. It does say ready to race, which is KTM's slogan. I kinda don't agree with that, but it does bring you joy when you're on the bike, even at my age as well. Even though I own a much more powerful and capable motorcycle, I still think that this motorcycle does at least 80 to 90% of the job of what the big bike does. Most of the buyers will probably not be using these motorcycles to 100% capacity. They probably just want to enjoy the motorcycles, go for evening rides, ride around with their friends, enjoy a beer in the garage or out in the parking lot with other motorcycle riders, kind of just to enjoy the fact that you have a really cool, capable bike. The fact that it's a single cylinder engine, I have mentioned that it does make the gas mileage a lot better as well. And honestly, it doesn't feel as jerky as it does on my FE350. I'm not sure how they've done that. They've actually made the riding experience to be really smooth. When you are riding at really low speeds, I'm talking red light speeds, you can feel somewhat of a jerk occasionally, but it's not noticeable unless you're actually looking for the problems. If you are used to riding 2, 3, 4-cylinder bikes, yeah, obviously those are way more balanced. But considering that this one is a single-cylinder bike, it's probably the best and most comfortable mono-cylinder bike that I've ever ridden in my life. So take that from someone that's been riding motocross since the age of 14. Even though it has one cylinder, I know that the maintenance intervals are a lot bigger than what you would get on a motocross bike. On my Husqvarna FE350, so the single cylinder kind of dual sport converted motorcycle. Theoretically, according to the manual, I'm supposed to service the bike every 10 hours. Now, if you do manage to ride that motorcycle for an average speed of 100 kilometers an hour for 10 hours, that's still just gonna be 1,000 kilometers covered. And let's face it, that's not what you're gonna get, especially if you're gonna be heating up your engine before you leave and stuff. Those 10 hours are gonna add up. You'll be sitting at a red light as well, so that all kind of adds up. This one being a mono-cylinder bike, I think it's recommended to do the oil change every 5,000 kilometers or so, maybe even more. It also depends on your riding style. Some people still like to do it more often. Normally on my Husqvarna, I have to do it every 15,000 kilometers, but I choose to do it every 7,500, so I've cut it down to 50%. Just because all of this helps with the longevity of the motorcycle. I know that you gotta check your valve clearance every 15,000 kilometers, which is a bit of a headache, but if you're already out of warranty and you're gonna be the one taking a look at the valve clearances, check out a few videos on YouTube. It's not a very complicated engine, given that it's a single cylinder bike. It's something you can probably do yourself if you have somewhat of a workshop back home, or you can do it with your dad as well. Or the best and safest bet, just take it to the dealer and they'll do it for you in exchange for something, right? If you're considering buying this motorcycle, you've probably considered some of its competition. There's the BMW 310 GS, there's Royal Enfield's Himalayan as well that are worthy bikes looking at, Honda CB500X, maybe the Suzuki V-Strom 250 as well, Benelli, TRK, TRX, TRK 502. They all have their kind of advantages, disadvantages as well. Maybe check out some of those reviews, but let's face it, if you are watching this video, I'm pretty sure you've already decided which motorcycle you want to buy. You are just looking at some external affirmation to kind of confirm that it is the right choice you are making. Around Romania, this bike goes roughly for around 6,000 euros, which is on the more expensive side of the motorcycles that I've listed earlier. However, I believe that it definitely is the best out of this category. So as a conclusion, the few hours that I've managed to get with this motorcycle, if it managed to convince me to buy one or if I will be filing for a refund, I gotta say that I'm really happy with this motorcycle. I've kind of repeated that several times while I was on the motorcycle as well. It definitely exceeded my expectations. Coming from the bigger brother of the KTM 390, which is the KTM 890, which is the brother of the sister of the Husqvarna Norden 901. I didn't complicate that, luckily. I gotta say that this is a really capable and super bike. The one thing I'd maybe consider in my situation, because I have off-road experience and we do have a lot of places where you can ride off-road, I definitely consider looking at the Adventure R. Hopefully Masterbike here in Cluj, if they ever get one in stock, they will allow me to test ride that motorcycle as well. I'll definitely be focusing more on the off-road aspect of that motorcycle. It is exciting that it is coming out, especially as that front end with the high fender and the higher tower looks insanely cool. But in the meantime, not to diss this motorcycle, because I believe that it's very capable, and I'm actually excited that I have to ride another half an hour back to the dealer from here, which will give me another opportunity to ride the motorcycle. Thank you, KTM 390 Adventure. So if you are going to be buying one of these 390 Adventure SW motorcycles or any of its closer or more distant cousins, which are the Standard or the Adventure R or the Duke or the RC of the LC4C engine, then kudos to you. Definitely enjoy these motorcycles because they are awesome. Despite the fact that KTM's got their financial issues, I believe the motorcycle that they've got going on here definitely gets a really good job done, and I love it myself. Hey, BoJack. So if you found information from this video to be useful or entertaining, please consider tapping that like button, hitting subscribe, as well as hitting the notification bell. If you are considering buying something from one of the big names, whether it's Amazon, AliExpress, Temu, or whichever, if it's accessories for a motorcycle or even something for your horse, definitely use those links. The cookies will get stored and the system will remember that you've been directed there from my link. It will not cost you anything extra, but it will definitely help me get the channel moving. It will keep the lights on. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this video at Ride with Nimrod. BoJack and Nimrod out.
So hey, hi. How long are you thinking of staying here? People don't usually want to hang out with me after rehab. I'm really more of a before rehab friend.